Welcome back to episode 2 of Take Charge of the Classroom web series, designed to disrupt outdated behavior management models and help you create the classroom culture of your dreams. So in this episode, we are looking at relationships, the heart of teaching. And one thing I want to make sure we understand before we go into any type of behavior management understandings or thoughts or theories is that it's relationships that are the precursor to learning. Ultimately, everything we do in education is about students and student achievement, and you don't have any of that without relationships. So looking at the Take Charge model, we're using the immediate impact sequence, and we're starting at the very beginning. We're looking at relationships, and we're focusing really on the teacher and what is the teacher doing to build relationships with students. And you might be thinking, I thought we were trying to learn how to control kids. No, that is not what this is about. We don't control kids. We have a hard enough time controlling ourselves. What we do is we create the environment and the culture so that learning has a better chance of happening, and that starts with relationships with students. Now, why relationships? Why are relationships so important? Why don't we start with procedures or rules or expectations or even some social emotional stuff? Well, relationships affect the modulation of emotion. So if you want students to do a better job of regulating themselves, of not having outbursts, of controlling their anger, their sadness, their grief, whatever it is that's keeping them from learning, build better relationships. They also affect the ability to focus and sustain attention. So if you want them to not just completely wander away mentally from any lesson that you give, if you want them to be able to focus, to keep their mind on the task at hand, to not distract their classmates or their teammates if they're working on a group project, build better relationships. It also helps them organize their memories. So if you want students to remember something that you taught last week and apply it on a test that's coming up next week, and if you want them to associate and link new learning to previous learning, and all of those things that we know are so important to achievement, build better relationships. And also, relationships affect the capacity for interpersonal communication, how students talk with each other, how students talk with you. Sometimes they won't mean anything negative, but big blow-ups happen in the classroom simply because students don't know how to interpret somebody else's body language or tone of voice, and we get all kinds of little flare-ups of problems that come out all throughout the day simply because students don't know how to talk to each other. They don't know how to listen to each other. You want them to do a better job of talking and listening? Build better relationships. Basically, relationships affect everything. It's the heart of teaching. It's the precursor to learning. So relationships is where everything starts with students. Now, there are many ways to build relationships. But one thing that we need to make sure we answer every single day is this question, am I loved? Students come into your classroom with this question that needs to be answered. Now, usually it could be answered very quickly. Usually they're going to assume the answer is yes. But they need their relational needs met first, because if they do not feel loved, they're not ready to learn. That door will stay closed. So when this question is answered, they are then ready to listen to anything that you say. But if you cannot say with 100% certainty that each of your students walk into your classroom and they feel loved by you, we can't control what happens at home, their home life, their domestic situation, we can't control that. Your classroom, your affection for them, your kind regard, do they feel loved by you? Because if not, the rest of this is just academic. Might as well even stop watching or listening. Start with relationships. If they have this question answered by you in the affirmative, then they are ready to learn. Now, there are many ways to do that, but one way that I think is very powerful are rituals. Now, rituals foster connection. What you want to build in your classroom is not just a relationship where you like them and they like you. I'm not saying that we want to be their best friends, that we need to follow each other on Instagram. What I'm saying is that we need to build this sense of being together, of we are all part of one team. We are part of a community. We are on the inside, and there is no one left outside. And so one of the things that do that are rituals. Every family has a ritual. They have multiple rituals, things that they do that's just unique to them. They're inside jokes. They are things they do maybe at meal times, on the weekends, maybe it's a yearly vacation trip, but there's something about each family that makes them feel like, I am a part of this family because we do this together. So what are you building in your classroom so your students know, I'm a part of this teacher's classroom community because we do this together? Here are a few ideas. Welcoming students at the door. You might think it's kind of overused, but try it. You don't have to create a 5-minute handshake for every single student. That's a bit elaborate. But just welcome students at the door. If they know that every single morning, come rain or shine, you are going to be standing at the door and you're going to be welcoming them, perhaps you can have a poster outside. I've seen some teachers with this poster of how do you want to be greeted, and they get to choose whether it be a fist bump, a high five, a hug, a nod, a bow. That's fantastic. But anything that we do again and again and again, and it includes everyone, is a ritual. And that starts to build connection because they might not know what's happening in any of the other classrooms, but they know when they come to your classroom, they will be greeted at the door. So that's one way that we can build a ritual to foster connection. Another thing is jokes and humor. Laughter is so good for so many reasons in your classroom, and it just helps lighten the mood. But you can turn this into a ritual to where you have a dad joke, maybe a comic strip. It can take 30 seconds to a minute every single day to where you just share some type of joke or humor, and you can even let the students bring some in. But do it again and again and again. It doesn't even have to be academic. It could just be something fun. But you're trying to build this community of, look what we do. Every single day before we head out to lunch, we look at a comic strip. That's a ritual. A walk and talk is fantastic. This is something that you can use in order to hit so many different boxes. So a walk and talk is pretty simple. Students pair up, they walk around the classroom, or quite honestly, it'd probably be better if they could walk up and down the hallway, maybe even around the school, depending on the layout of your school. And they spend 5 minutes talking, but they're talking about academic content. So you give them a topic. You might say, all right, we're going to take 2 laps around the school, and I want you to talk to your partner about what we learned yesterday in mathematics, or about what we learned last week about the Industrial Revolution. You give them that topic. They're walking, they're talking, but they enjoy getting to know each other. They're reviewing academic content. It gets them up, gets them going. It could be something you do at the beginning of the day. It's a fantastic break. Obviously, it's a procedure, so you're going to have to teach them what to do and what not to do and show them the correct way to do it. But a walk and talk is a great ritual and something they can look forward to. Emotions. Emotions are so important. We're going to get into emotions when we're looking at the grow phase of the Take Charge model, but you can do something really simple in emotions charades, right? Emotional literacy is so important. So if you've got an extra 5 minutes, you can have just a list of emotions in a bucket, have 1 or 2 kids come up, they pull the emotion, and their job is to try to act out that emotion. And the kids that are, just like charades, they're trying to guess what it is. There's many different things that you can do. I'm sure you have your own rituals as I've been talking that you're thinking, oh, we do this every day. Those are rituals. Those foster connection. So these are just a few ideas to get you started. You probably can think of many others, but whatever it is, do something with regularity. Do something that is inclusive. Do something that is designed to bring people together. That's a ritual. That fosters connection. That builds relationships, and that is the foundation of everything that we do in teaching and learning, because our brains are hardwired for connection. Now, this is a neurological reality. We need to connect. And this is not some lovey-dovey social stuff. This is a physical reality. Our brains need to connect. We need to feel that we are loved. And when we have that connection, we have that safety, then we are ready to learn. So the beginning of everything we do in classroom management and taking charge of the classroom is built around relationships. So thank you for watching this. As always, you can connect with me on my website, aarondaffern.com/takecharge. You can email me, or you can follow me at Twitter @AaronDaffern.